So in this video, I'm going to show you how to accept user input from the command line. And we'll take that user input and we'll put it into our template, basically the same thing we were doing before, but now instead of defining a variable like the name is this right in the program, we'll be able to accept the user input through the command line. So I'm going to show you how to use OS/args to do that. And then I'm also going to show you the difference between go run, go and build, and go install. Go run, go build, and go install. So that's what we'll learn in this video. And if you already know those things, cruise on to the next video. All right, so here we have O3 OS/args. And I just thought this would be kind of fun, and not everybody knows it, so it'd be kind of good to review. And I'm just going to do go run main.go and then pass in a name, Billy Bob. All right, and I run it, and it creates a file. And there's my file, Billy Bob. Sweet. So that was with go run. I could also do go build. And go build will drop the binary right into the folder where you built it. And so now that that's there, I could do, hey, in this folder there's an executable. Run that. So that's what that dot means, this folder, / that file. Run it, and then pass in some other name. I don't know, Billy Bob and Angelina. There we go. And so now that should have given me Angelina. Sweet. And delete that, and delete that. And then I could also do go install. And so that's going to take the binary, the executable, and put it into my workspace in the bin folder. I could go look at that. And here it is, documents, my workspace, my bin, O3 OS/args. And so I can come back here to the terminal, and I could just type in O3 OS/args. Billy Bob, Angelina, now she's married to Brad, and I can pass in Brad, and there we go. You can tell which generation I've come from. There's Brad. So 3 different ways of running stuff. So now let's look at OS/args and the code. So all this is the same right here. Creating a file, deferring the close, copying the string to the file, because they're both read to writer kind of deal. And then we're string printing, just our HTML code and concatenating to drop a variable into it and getting that with a string. And that's what gets passed in right here. And the name, though, however, that we pass in is coming from OS/args. And we're asking for a certain argument. So I'm going to come back over here to the documentation. And in the documentation, I got a link to OS/args. So we'll click that. And right here, you'll notice it took me to variables. So OS/args is not a function. It's in package OS. And here are all the functions. And down below, we have variables. So it's a variable, and it's variable args of type slice of string. So it's going to hold all the arguments that you pass in through the command line in a slice of string. So it's a slice. Since it's a slice, we can access it by index. I put these other little deals in here so we can kind of play with that, right? So let's see what the args are if I pass in, what's in arg position 0. So basically that's what that's doing. So if I run that same thing again, but I want to do go run main because I need to rebuild it. Brad. There we go. And so in position 0 is all that. Kind of interesting. And then in position 1 is right here. That's kind of cool. What would happen if I did go build and then I did ... and whatever. And it looks a little bit different. That's kind of cool. And yeah, so that'd be in what's in position 0, the first position. So just kind of fun to play with. All right, so that's OS/args, and it's a slice of strings, and it's a variable, and it's where the command line input comes from. Args holds the command line argument starting with the program name. Cool. Last thing I want to show you is just a little bit about the FUMPT printing. So I didn't talk about this in the last video, just also kind of good review. FUMPT sprint, so string printing. So we could go look at the format package, and I'm just going to go to GoDoc and type in FUMPT. And I also provided a link to this right here, FUMPT sprint. And you can see, the different things about format printing and printing. And we have print line. We have print f and print line. Then we also have sprint f, and sprint line. And so sprint, the interesting thing about sprint to me is it takes a variadic number of parameters of any type, right? And same with print, right? But that was kind of interesting when I came to this, because it's like, oh wow, it's giving me back a string. Print's just printing the standard out, but this gives me back a string. So what happens if I pass in like an int? Does it automatically convert it to a string for me? So I put together this little program right here, and it's a Golang playground. And you could just Google Golang playground, and you could start writing code right here. There's no code completion, but it will do the imports for you. So like if format wasn't there, and I have imports checked, and I format, right, it brought in the imports. You could get a link to share this code, so you can just copy that. And this is a good way if you're ever going to post a question somewhere, or send me a code sample, send me code to look at. You could just say, hey, and here's the link to the code on Go Playground. Obviously, like, some complex stuff can't be run here, but yeah, you could run stuff right there. So that's the Go Playground. I put up this code right here just to pass in a string and an int, just to experiment, will it work, and run it. And hello 3 printed it out. So that was kind of cool, string printing. All right, so that's kind of another thing which is good to know about Go. And we're slowly just sort of building up. And in the next video, I have a challenge for you, because we're going to start using some of the functions from the standard library to do templating. And yeah, and I want to see if you could figure that out just by looking at the documentation. So that's in the next video. I've got a challenge for you.